Welcome back to the Begin Purpose podcast. In our last episode, we talked about purpose through service. We explored the idea that purpose eventually has to move beyond the inner life and begin touching the lives of others. We talked about contribution, healthy service, boundaries, and the truth that what we have lived, learned, built, survived, and become may not be only for us. Sometimes the very thing being formed in us becomes the thing that helps someone else stand, begin, heal, grow, or keep going. Today, I want to bring purpose even closer to the ground. I want to talk about purpose in ordinary days. Not purpose in the dramatic, life-changing moments. Not purpose in the big announcement, the new beginning, the major decision, the public achievement, or the obvious turning point. I want to talk about the kind of purpose that is practiced in the regular, repeated, seemingly small moments that make up most of our lives. This episode is called Purpose in Ordinary Days because one of the great misunderstandings about purpose is that we often imagine it as something that only appears in extraordinary circumstances. We think purpose is found in the launch, the calling, the career change, the mission trip, the book, the business, the platform, the major act of courage, or the defining moment where everything suddenly becomes clear. And those moments can matter. There are times when purpose does step onto the stage of our lives in a visible way. But most of life is not lived on a stage. Most of life is lived in kitchens, cars, bedrooms, offices, grocery stores, quiet conversations, repeated routines, morning decisions, evening reflections, difficult emails, small acts of patience, and private choices no one else sees. If purpose cannot live there, then purpose will remain too far away from the life we actually have. That is why this conversation matters. Many people are waiting for purpose to arrive as a grand assignment, while missing the ways purpose is already asking to be practiced today. They think, when I finally understand my calling, then I will live on purpose. Or, when I have more time, then I will focus on what matters. Or, when I get through this busy season, then I will become more intentional. But ordinary days are not interruptions to purpose. They are often the very place purpose is formed. Purpose is not only about what we eventually build. It is also about how we show up while building, waiting, working, loving, serving, healing, and becoming. Think about the average day. It may not feel inspiring. You wake up tired. There are responsibilities waiting, messages to answer, meals to prepare, work to do, problems to solve, people who need something. Maybe there is traffic, stress, bills, appointments, interruptions, and small frustrations that seem to drain the life out of any meaningful intention you had when the day began. By noon, the idea of purpose may feel far away. By evening, you may simply be trying to get through the day with a little energy left. But what if purpose is not only something you add to life after all those responsibilities are handled? What if purpose can shape the way you move through those responsibilities? What if purpose is not waiting somewhere beyond ordinary life, but asking to be practiced within ordinary life? That shift changes everything. It means the conversation with your child can be purposeful. The way you respond to a coworker can be purposeful. The decision to take care of your body can be purposeful. The way you manage frustration can be purposeful. The small act of creating order in your home can be purposeful. The email you write with clarity and kindness can be purposeful. The moment you choose not to repeat an old pattern can be purposeful. The prayer whispered in a difficult morning can be purposeful. The choice to rest instead of collapse can be purposeful. The decision to return after drifting can be purposeful. Purpose becomes less mysterious when we stop treating it as an event and begin treating it as a way of living. This does not make ordinary life easy. It does not magically turn every task into something exciting. Laundry is still laundry. Bills are still bills. Difficult conversations are still difficult. Work can still be tiring. Caregiving can still be heavy. Waiting can still be frustrating. But purpose changes the meaning we bring to those moments. It helps us ask, who do I want to be here? And what value can I practice in this moment? That question is powerful, because ordinary days reveal our real formation. It is one thing to say we value patience when life is calm. It is another thing to practice patience when we are interrupted for the fifth time. It is one thing to say we value integrity when there is no cost. It is another thing to tell the truth when hiding would be easier. It is one thing to say we value health when we feel motivated. It is another thing to make one supportive choice on a tired day. It is one thing to say we value love. It is another thing to listen when we would rather defend ourselves. The ordinary day tests what the inspired moment declares. That may sound intimidating, but it is also hopeful. It means every ordinary day offers practice. Every day gives us a chance to strengthen the identity we are trying to live from. We do not have to wait for perfect circumstances. We do not have to wait for our lives to look impressive. We can begin practicing purpose in the next interaction, the next decision, the next task, the next response. This is where the begin purpose question returns. Who are you today? Not who do you hope to become someday when everything is easier. Not who would you be if life were perfectly arranged. Who are you today, in this day, with these responsibilities, these limitations, these opportunities, and this amount of energy? That question brings purpose into the present. If today is difficult, maybe purpose looks like steadiness. If today is busy, maybe purpose looks like focus. If today is relationally tense, maybe purpose looks like honesty without cruelty. If today is discouraging, maybe purpose looks like taking one step instead of surrendering to the whole weight of the future. If today is ordinary, maybe purpose looks like noticing the people and moments you usually rush past. There is a quiet dignity in living an ordinary day with intention. The world may not notice it. There may be no applause, no post, no visible milestone. But something in the soul is strengthened when we stop sleepwalking through our own hours. Many people feel disconnected from purpose because they have disconnected from presence. Their body is in one place, their mind is in another, and their heart is somewhere between regret and anticipation. They are thinking about what should have happened, what might happen, what someone else is doing, what they have not achieved yet, what they should have said, what they still need to do. The present moment becomes a place they pass through on the way to somewhere else. But purpose needs presence. Not perfect presence, but enough presence to notice what is actually in front of us. The person who needs our attention, the value being tested, the opportunity hidden inside responsibility, the small beauty we almost missed, the pattern asking to be interrupted, the decision that seems minor but is quietly shaping us. If we are never present, we may keep missing the places where purpose is trying to meet us. This is especially important for people who feel like their lives are not currently positioned for purpose. Maybe they are not in their dream job. Maybe they are caring for family. Maybe they are in a season of health limitations. Maybe finances are tight. Maybe the larger vision feels delayed. Maybe they are doing work that feels necessary, but not deeply fulfilling. It is easy in those seasons to believe purpose is on hold. But purpose is not canceled by limitation. It may take a different form. It may become quieter. It may become more local, more relational, more internal, more patient. A person caring for an aging parent may not have the freedom they once imagined, but purpose can live in the dignity, patience, and love they bring to that care. A person working a job that is not their final calling may still practice excellence, kindness, learning, and stewardship. A person rebuilding after loss may not feel productive in the way they once did, but purpose may be present in the courage to heal honestly. A person whose life feels small from the outside may be practicing faithfulness in ways that matter deeply. We have to be careful not to define purpose only by scale. Bigger is not always deeper. Public is not always more meaningful than private. Visible does not always mean valuable. Some of the most purposeful lives are built through hidden faithfulness, ordinary love, consistent service, and daily alignment. This does not mean we should never pursue bigger dreams. We should. If there is a book in you, write it. If there is a business to build, build it. If there is a community to serve, serve it. If there is a calling asking for courage, step toward it. Begin. Purpose is not an invitation to think small, but it is an invitation to stop despising the small while reaching for the significant. The small is often where the significant is trained. A person who cannot practice integrity in small things may struggle to carry larger influence well. A person who cannot be present with one person may not become more present simply because the audience grows. A person who neglects their own rhythms in private may find that public success only magnifies the disconnection. Ordinary days prepare us for larger assignments by forming the kind of person who can carry them. That is why the ordinary should not be treated as meaningless. The ordinary is where identity becomes embodied. It is where values become habits. It is where courage becomes natural through repetition. It is where patience grows. It is where service becomes less about recognition and more about love. It is where purpose becomes a way of being, not only a thing we are trying to find. There is also a spiritual richness in ordinary days. Many traditions of faith and wisdom remind us that the sacred is often found in the simple. Bread, water, walking, listening, resting, working with our hands, speaking truth, caring for the vulnerable, practicing gratitude, sitting in quiet, welcoming another person. These are not glamorous activities, but they can become deeply meaningful when approached with awareness. Sometimes the ordinary day is where we learn that we do not need life to be spectacular in order for it to be sacred. That can be hard to believe in a culture that constantly tells us to chase more. More visibility, more achievement, more stimulation, more productivity, more recognition, more proof that we are becoming someone important. But the soul can become exhausted by constantly needing life to look impressive. Purpose offers a different way. It says, live this moment honestly. Bring your values here. Practice love here. Take the next faithful step here. Let today matter. One of the ways to begin practicing purpose in ordinary days is through what I would call a daily purpose lens. Before the day gets away from you, ask one simple question. What would it look like to live today on purpose? Not perfectly, not dramatically, just on purpose. The answer may be surprisingly simple. That's a beautiful reflection. It's about setting an intention at the start of the day, like choosing a guiding theme, whether it's patience, focus, honesty, encouragement, quiet, or resilience. That sets a center for how you interact with the day. And then in the evening, that idea of the evening return helps anchor reflection in awareness rather than in judgment. It's a gentle and compassionate way of noticing how you lived on purpose, and when you drifted, to guide you back into alignment the next day. By slowing down and acknowledging purpose in ordinary actions, it becomes easier to cultivate gratitude for what's already present in life. Not shallow gratitude that denies pain, but honest gratitude that notices gifts even in imperfect seasons. The morning light, a good conversation, a meal, a moment of laughter, a task completed, a lesson learned, a chance to try again. Gratitude does not erase difficulty, but it widens our awareness. It reminds us that life is not only what is missing, it is also what is being given. Many people lose touch with purpose because they become trained to see only gaps. The gap between where they are and where they want to be. The gap between their life and someone else's. The gap between their expectations and their reality. Those gaps may be real, but if we stare only at them, we may miss the grace and responsibility of the present. Purpose asks us to hold both. Yes, there is more ahead. Yes, there may be things that need to change. But there is also a life in front of us right now, asking to be lived with intention. Sometimes the next purposeful step is not adding more. Sometimes it is paying attention to what is already here. The people already here. The responsibilities already here. The gifts already here. The opportunities already here. The wisdom already forming. The small door already open. As we close this episode, I want to invite you into a simple reflection. Think about your ordinary day, not your ideal day, not your vacation day, not the day when everything finally calms down. Think about your real day, the one with work, responsibilities, interruptions, limits, and routines. Now ask, Where can purpose live in this day? Be specific. Choose one moment, one action, one relationship, one responsibility, or one rhythm where you can bring more intention. Maybe purpose can live in your first 10 minutes of the morning. Maybe it can live in the way you greet someone. Maybe it can live in the task you have been avoiding. Maybe it can live in how you care for your body. Maybe it can live in the way you close the day instead of collapsing into distraction. Maybe it can live in one act of service, one moment of honesty, one decision to be present. Do not underestimate it. Ordinary purpose is still purpose. Thank you for joining me for this episode of the Begin Purpose podcast. In our next episode, we will continue this journey by exploring how to protect purpose when life gets noisy, pressured, and full of competing demands. Until then, remember this: purpose is not only waiting for you in some future chapter, it is asking to be practiced in the day you have been given. This is Begin Purpose, and today is a good day to live the ordinary on purpose.